Every class started with a warm-up that was usually more physical, sometimes a little less, but prepared us mentally and physically for the material. We didn't want to tell the students how science and dance come together, but there's a general framework that we worked with. Dance can model science. We can't see a lot of what happens on the molecular level, and so modeling the processes through dance and movement are comparable to animating them or envisioning them, imagining them through other modeling methods.
Katya and I chose molecular biology because this is a subject that inherently requires imagination for the students to envision this nearly invisible world of molecules inside of us. Proteins, DNA, what is their structure like? What are they made of? How do they work? There aren't too many ways of incorporating creativity and experimentation in science courses, particularly for non-science majors.
Anytime you're learning or teaching or thinking, you're making creative choices. Often we don't realize that. In this class and in dance, that becomes an explicit part of the process. You're making choices about how to think, what to prioritize, how to arrange it. And so the creative process of making dances, of working in movement, played into how we thought about the science.
The students were both frustrated and excited throughout the course. They committed a lot of their time and effort into understanding how to deal with the course, how to perform in the course.
I think that we all struggled a little bit with creating collaboratively the mitosis dance, just because it was just many different viewpoints on what to do, and it was sort of much more of a way for us all to have to come together and sort of decide what we were doing.
I taught material that's comparable to a traditional introductory biology course, and the fact that through dance they could experiment with the material at such a deeper level than in a lecture hall is the most important reason for continuing this experiment.
I think this was the first time that we felt like we weren't really, at least for me, I felt like we weren't depicting a process. It was a theme, and then we could elaborate on that theme. But for example, with mitosis, it was very much so a process, and we had a hard time breaking away from just depicting that process. But the disease aspect really allowed us to intertwine the emotional aspects and really make it, have feeling of our own artwork, and we really felt, I think, more connected to this piece because of that.
Everything else we've done this semester, not just us, but every group, has been learning about the science, applying the science to movement, and then creating movement in whatever sense based on the science, but in the sense it was sort of the opposite in a way, or some combination of the two, of actually choosing our subject informed by the movement.
I think it also just gave us the freedom to create our movements based on how we wanted to convey emotion and not necessarily just stick to that rigid structure of what the science, the specific science is. So it allowed us to tweak it a little.
Without feeling you had left the science behind.
Exactly.
Without exception, every single student in the class was fully engaged in the movement, in the material. And this is something you can tell as a teacher after so many years of teaching. They were all there and present, and that's rare in any class, I think.